Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Okay, to give you perspective to the video that you're about to watch or listen to, I grew up in Iowa. I was a big evangelizer for the state of Iowa in terms of attracting businesses, small businesses, very, very small businesses and entrepreneurs. I don't know. I don't think I did a very good job, and I'm no longer in Iowa, not because of Iowa necessarily, just because I like the weather in Seattle so much better. Oh God, so much better. But Iowa to me was a great state full of great people and very smart, very intelligent, a little too conservative for my taste, but they sit there right at the center point, well, in Des Moines at least, between I-35 and I-80. And a lot of potential is sitting inside these remote communities where people can be connected with the ICN, the Iowa Communications Network, this just ahead of its time fiber optic network that connected the entire state, made for educational purposes, and was never really opened up to the private sector, which was somewhat unfortunate because the telecommuting potential of the state is gigantic. Gigantic. And, I wasn't into ag. I wasn't into insurance. I really didn't like tornadoes, so Iowa just wasn't it for me. I enjoyed my year at WHO Radio, AM 1040, on Saturday afternoons when I took call-ins using a different number. Wish I could remember that number. I'd give it out and have you guys call them in the middle of the night. I got an email from Mike Frank. I don't think any relation to Professor Frank. It was a link to Ars Technica's article on Iowa enticing Microsoft to build a data center right there in Des Moines. He asked me what I thought about it and gave perspective, referencing the recent class action lawsuit against Microsoft and saying, well, it's kind of weird that first the state goes after Microsoft and says, shame on you, gets money from them, and now they're saying, oh, no, we want to do business, Well, chances are they're two completely different groups, both, going after them in a legal sense and trying to attract them in a business sense. I mean, the state of Iowa's got a lot of people in it, believe it or not. I think, I can't even remember what's I'm pretty sure there's a few more people out here in the Seattle area than in the Des Moines area. Couldn't tell you by what magnitude. I'm not a statistician. Oh, thank you, UNI Panther, for posting the phone number there. So don't call that number. Don't tell them I sent you. Any old way. So what do I think? I think it's a fantastic idea for any business to go into a location that's stateside, that doesn't necessarily have, let's say, okay, maybe Des Moines isn't as sexy in a loose sense as San Francisco or LA or Seattle or Washington, D.C. or Chicago, or you name the bigger city. But that weakness is also its strength. The costs are low. The people are very, like I said, generally speaking, very down to earth. And I think there is a greater chance of attracting and keeping someone as not as an employee for a longer period of time. Principal Financial Group is just about the biggest business in the entire state, and in Iowa, if you were not working at Principal, you were related to someone who was working at Principal. That's just the way it is in Iowa. And even if that wasn't the case, you couldn't throw a rock and not hit someone who was working at Principal. And that's kind of scary to put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, it really is big business. It's insurance, right? Oh, were you trying to do RAGBRAI there? I think someone was just trying to do bikes with RAGBRAI. RAGBRAI's big. Of course, I'm not really a biker, so. I would certainly encourage any big business to look at the Midwest or smaller communities, not just because they're hungry for business, but you're keeping your business in the United States and helping the United States economy instead of shipping it overseas. And again, I know we're in a global economy, but yeah, I do believe we have a lot of untapped potential living in locations that aren't big cities. And Des Moines struggles with that. They want to keep that small town feel, but be a bigger player. And I think having Microsoft in central Iowa, I don't live there anymore, but I think there would just be a huge boost. Huge. There are Microsoft offices in the state of Iowa, and I remember meeting a couple of them, the people who worked there at the time, and they were nice people and everything. In fact, I think one of them came on the radio show. Oh, what was his name? Oh, it's been forever since I talked to him. Derek? Oh, he's going to shoot me. Oh, well, he's probably never going to find out. No matter. That's part of why the internet is such a great connector for personal and business reasons. And economically speaking, you're potentially helping hundreds of thousands of people, even if it was just hundreds of people or even thousands of people. That's a big boost. In Iowa, if they would just open up the ICN to private enterprise, it would put Iowa literally on the map, and Iowans on the map, and attract so much business and be such a boon to the economy. If Microsoft opened a data center, and they're not going to listen to me, but I would certainly encourage it. They have my support. Microsoft has my support, and Iowa has my support in this kind of endeavor. I think personally, and of course Microsoft has to look at their own economics, I think they'd be crazy to pass it up. Iowa's that hungry for it, and when that happens, it's good for business. Iowans certainly could use another economic leg to stand on. I've long believed that. There are a lot of geeks still living in Iowa. I think a lot of them, however, they skew a little to the older side and a little to the conservative side. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. I don't know. I think this is, and even the people who are watching this video who aren't from Iowa, I'd imagine, how many of you guys live in small cities versus large cities right now in the chat room? I'm just going to ask. We got a few hundred people in there right now. Why do you choose to stay where you stay? A lot of people live in smaller communities or medium-sized communities. Very few people live in larger communities. I mean, I'm not saying there are few people living in larger communities. Obviously, there are a lot of people. That's what makes them large. But I think there's a lot more untapped potential sitting in smaller communities, especially if they can be connected digitally to larger communities. More importantly, those of you out there who are looking for a job in technology, in your area, what do you have to choose from? I mean, what's the selection like? In Seattle, there's a few gaming companies. There's Microsoft, obviously. Silicon Valley is just pouring over with tech jobs, not just in startups, but certainly established companies. Des Moines, TV VCR repair. It's a good one, Andy. In Des Moines, it was the insurance industry, by and large. I mean, and even the same thing holds true for Nebraska. And I know a few people. I write for CPU Magazine, and that's based out of Nebraska because the costs are so low. Oh, the costs are so low. I live in a nice house here in the Seattle area. With the money we paid for this small house, we could have afforded a mansion in Iowa. I mean, it's just, So, and I know that's the way it is, not to say that the real estate market is doing that great because of the subprime, blah, 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 blah. But I want to ask, what kind of community do you live in? What kind of tech jobs are available in your area? And what kind of tech jobs do you want available in your area? So if nothing out of this video, I want you to answer those 3 questions for me in a response. Either a video response or a typewritten response, 1, 2, 3. If you can answer those 3 questions, it'd be great. I'm just curious to know, what it's like everywhere in the United States or even overseas. Or, internationally, I'll say, whether it's Mexico, Canada, over literally at that point, then you are going overseas, unless it's South America, Brazil, Venezuela, the whole South American continent. Just curious, we don't really talk about a lot of that stuff here, but it's still important. I mean, I think everybody who follows my videos a lot of them are techie in nature, whether they do it professionally or they do it as a hobbyist. Microsoft in Des Moines equals senior programmer, $20,000 a year. You're kidding. Oh my God. No wonder people leave. Sorry. Well, hopefully they can offer a little bit more to keep the talent. I've long believed this, and I think I tried helping Iowa the Greater Des Moines Business Partnership, I tried telling them, I said, your chief export is people. My brother is a phys ed teacher. He had to move to Plano, Texas to get a job there because it paid better and he could get more. And I am now in Seattle. Of course, I think it's largely because I like the weather. Iowa weather is you kind of got to get used to it. The summers are a little balmy, and the winters are very cold. But once you look past the weather, I mean, there's a lot of other things to like about the state of Iowa, and most importantly, it's the people, and that is why I like the Seattle area. Not only have I met other Iowans here, but they're level-headed people in the Seattle area, which reminds me a lot of home. And I still consider Iowa home because you can take the boy out of Iowa, but you can't take Iowa out of the boy. No matter if you can't answer those 3 questions for me, and if you got other opinions or other discussion points to talk about here in the world of tech, whether it's related to hardware, software, the internet, politics in general, feel free to email me, chris@pirillo.com. I'd love to make it a discussion point for a future video. Certainly, this is interesting stuff to talk about because everybody's got a different background. And then you're also welcome to swing by the chat room or my blog. Both can be located at chris.pirillo.com. You'll find your way. Just Google for my first name. Trust me, you can't miss me. I'm everywhere. Yeah, in fact, some people get mad because I'm in too many places. Okie dokie. So with that, I'm going to close her out and say if you don't have a tech job, keep looking. There's one out there that'll match what you want, no matter where you live. Maybe it's virtual, or maybe it's somewhere and you just haven't found it yet. So as Google says, have a great day, and swing by the chat room if you can to say hello. We're live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, at live.pirillo.com. We'll see you later.